I am Dr. Marcia Thomas. I am a professional life coach and leadership consultant for Christian leaders and high achieving career professionals. Need to remain relevant and resilient and also exemplary, especially during the tough times. So I'm a pivotal leadership coach, and I'm also an author and a content writer. I write stories in textbooks for children, their own stories, and transcribe and repurpose that content for them to use a language experience approach for teachers and also to teach comprehension, phonics, and critical thinking and problem solving using their own experience. My background in business is embedded in my years of serving and supporting my family's business, and most recently, my own business, which I started 2 years ago as a consultant, purposefully commissioned, motivated me to. I am the founder of that. Today, I want to talk about the effective strategies to engage your audience and enhance your brand from a storytelling point of view. And I want to ask, because I share what I know, because I want to be able to enable you as your audience to create brand narratives that resonate with your audience and craft versatile and engaging content tailored to their brand, your specific brand, without comparing yourself with others, without telling someone else's story, telling your story. And so you are now able to adapt your storytelling strategies accordingly, because we are hoping that I am sharing today will ensure continuous improvement in your brand perception, your customer engagement, and your confidence and place in the market that you have fit yourself in. And that is extremely important because you need to ask yourself some important questions. What are they? How do you use storytelling in your brand is important. And which type of storytelling do you find yourself commonly using in your sales or brand? And most importantly, is it working for you? And so as you answer those questions, going through this presentation, we are hoping that you will improve your sales and drive clients that are more loyal and create and connect with more lasting relationships. And so the first thing I want to say is engaging people is good for your business. Why is that? When you engage people and the engagement is meaningful or purposeful, it means that you understand how your target audience think and what they need, because this is at the heart of your engaging people and driving your business forward and upward. The next thing is you can only sell when you understand. You can only reach your target audience if you're in their mind and if you understand their ordinary life and what their challenges and needs are. Your understanding, therefore, has to be specific and very authentic. So you have to come from a place where you appreciatively inquire about their lives so you can form your solutions and your products and brands can be heightened with that awareness to serve your clientele. Now, how are you authentic? Authenticity comes from your unique story, which, as the presenter said before, involves how you showcase your personal brand, your personal journey, how you establish your brand, and how you want to be seen by your target audience and the wider community with whom you engage. And so you establish your brand. Storytelling is a transformation tool. You establish your brand when you are able to transform, empower, and ignite action through your story. Then we want to look now at the power of storytelling. Why is storytelling so powerful? Does it really matter? I say yes. You cannot do personal branding if you don't share a story or two. Why is that? Your story, your unique story, your personal story, or any story that you interact with in your brand must leave an emotional connection to guarantee brand loyalty. And so when you emotionally connect with your customers, when what you're saying to them about yourself or about your experience, about how you started, why you're continuing this brand, this business, why is it so important to you? How do you want to serve your community? It will resonate with the people, their experiences, their values, and their aspirations. It will give them a sense of belonging. And so it creates a powerful bond between you and your customers because they in turn feel understood and valued. And this will lead to more meaningful and long-lasting connections that make them loyal to you and your product and your brand. And then storytelling also increase your engagement and make your brand stand out as being very memorable. When you're able to effectively weave, and that's a key word, narratives into your brand and communicate confidently and authentically, you are able to capture the attention of your target audience and, most importantly, sustain their interests, which leaves a lasting impression on them that makes them remember and become apostles of telling persons about your brand because the message stays with them long after your interaction. And then the power of storytelling that is most important for business owners is that it differentiates or distinguishes you, gives you a distinctive mark, an authentic, unique image that make you stand out in a crowded marketplace. And so that lady who stood out by how she dressed and carried the conversation further, leaving curiosity behind, and then discovering that her capabilities, her image matched her profession, her business, and what she gives in her hairdressing salon is very important because that is an authentic narrative that sets her apart and showcased her values, her personal brand, and her USB, which was so original in itself that it created ripples. And that is what storytelling should do. It must showcase your values and origin, your mission, and it must resonate so much with your target audience that it builds ripples that we call trust. And so we are moving to this important point. Storytelling is not just telling a story. Anyone can tell a good story. What you ought to do for it to be very effective and lasting is that you must put your viewer in your story. People must be able to see themselves in you. Your story must be less about you and more about you, your brand, and them. What your brand can produce, how it can help them. What will they be able to take away? So you have to cater to those who matter the most, and that is your target audience. So you have to take yourself out of the picture and place yourself in their lives so you can become a guide, a captain, a hero for them. And we're going to look at that as we go because you must address the concerns of your clients and your customers to remain valuable, relevant, exceptional, and also resilient in tough times. So how do you engage with your audience? so they stop scrolling? How do you leverage the narrative arch? First of all, you need to know your audience. Understanding what resonates with them is important because that is what is the crucial ingredient to tailor your stories according to their needs. As was said before, you also have to establish an emotional connection. You have to appeal to the emotions or feelings that you want to leave them with. Do you want them to feel joy or empathy? Do you want them to feel excitement? It could also be that you want to create suspense. But this will make your audience relate to your brand on a personal level. You must also see the whole person and not just the part that you want to interact with your business or brand. So you have to consider their demographics, their interests, and most importantly, their preferences, especially in this crucial economy and the changing complex landscape that we are calling business with hybrid face-to-face and remote. We must be able to serve convincingly and also in a timely manner so that you can maintain your engagement with your audience. You must be able to transition your story into a stage of consideration where they begin to seriously consider your offerings, your product, and resonate more with your brand. And so you must show how it changes their lives, and we call that relating it. How will their life be different by interacting with your brand or product? That is very important. So how do you now craft compelling brand stories? There are some very key elements, in my opinion, of a powerful story. You must have a strong opening. It must be a captivating hook or line that grabs their attention and that makes them stop scrolling and want to learn more. So you create some intrigue from the very start. And then you must develop relatable characters that represent your audience in your story. So you personify your brand or product by creating this connection and making your story very engaging. Persons are able to say, yes, I know someone that applies to all. This is my story that you are telling. And then you must be genuine and authentic in your storytelling. You must be very ethical and honest. And so you must share real experiences and not experiences that you have made up or you have generated from AI or ChatGPT. Your customer testimonials are one of the secure ways to ensure that your stories are authentic, or the behind the scenes stories that you would not normally tell, to build trust with your audience and make them see you as human, compassionate, empathic. And then you want to have interactive stories, which would include them doing surveys for you, participating in your story by doing polls or quizzes, or you can use, and this is a plus in any business, your user-generated content, which means that you ask persons who have benefit from your business to share their stories or to create content from their experience that they will share with you. A lot of persons do that and do it at a cost. Then there is the visual storytelling, where you combine images or videos or infographics into your narratives, so it enhances the experience and makes it more memorable and impactful. The reasons why visuals are so important is that it appeals to all the senses. In fact, how many of you remember mostly, unless it is a stunning data structure, more remember visual images because they stay with us. They create an impression. They heighten it as immense. And you must be consistent, which is another way of crafting your brand. You must maintain a consistent narrative, the same, with very few variations, unless you're adopting it to fit into different platforms and channels, social media, your website, your marketing campaigns. Ensure that what you're saying is consistently aligning with your brand identity and your core values and missions as a business. And then there is a hero's journey that was mentioned by one of our speakers, which is a classical way of telling a story. And this is mostly encouraged in business because it transforms your brand into the hero. It shows the challenges, the transformation, and the success, making your audience root for your brand. So you crush it when you use your hero's journey. And you must always have a memorable conclusion when you're crafting your compelling brand stories. And this end must pull them to a call to action. It must make them act. It must have such a lasting impression that it inspires them to reflect on your story and take actions, meaning that they now want to share in your story by becoming a part of your clientele. They trust you enough to now give you what it is that they have as a problem and offering you the opportunity to become a part of their solution. And that is very important for business because it drives funds into your account and it drives visibility of your product. And it also gives you the satisfaction and the fulfillment of knowing that you're able to help someone to solve their problems. Now, how can you implement the hero's journey technique in crafting your compelling brand story? You must be able to put ordinary challenges and problems into your audience purview, their own stories and problems. And you have to develop the skills to introduce your audience to what they're experiencing. So it comes immediately in front of them and they're able to identify and spot. And you must provide a solution to that problem or challenge or issue that you have raised so compelling. And that means that you must now promote your product or brand as the solution that they would be anxious to seek. Your brand or product must become the mentor figure. And that brand or product must provide the solution or the change that your client desires. And that will allow them to cross the threshold. So your story must now bring them to the point where they are committed to engage with your brand or the solution you're offering. And finally, there is the transformation. And that transformation means that your customer, having experienced the resolution and having achieved the desired outcome, having been a part of that improvement that you have offered and you have given and securely ensured for them, becomes your brand advocate. So they begin to witness about how good and great you are, which is a powerful testimonial for driving your sales up. So who are some of the brands that successfully employ the hero's journey technique? I want us to get this impression because for me, we want to know how we can embrace this into our business, into our stories, to drive our brand visibility and enhance our connection with our clients so we are able to maintain their loyalty. Nike has a hero's journey where he tells you can do it. He looks at the challenges that persons have, especially athletes or aspiring leaders or growth masters and so on. And he portrays these challenges in their stories and how you can overcome the obstacles and achieve success. And they do it in an inspiring way so that you are pushed to and inspired and moved and propelled to strive for greatness in that context. And Apple says we are to think differently. And so their story portrays the products as tools that can empower individuals to challenge the status quo and unleash their creativity, connect in real ways, and do things that they never imagined they could produce. And they have been very successful at it. And then there are now the strategies for connecting stories with your audience. How do we connect our stories with our audience? We want to look at visual storytelling. We want to look at sustainable content that makes you remain very visible and out there. And we want to look at content collaboration, how you can collaborate with persons who share your core values and may just be in a different field or area, but complement what your brand is and you complement what their brand is. So what do you need to tell users, your viewers, your clients, your customers, what they need to hear. And in doing that, you want to make them see what you're able to do, and you want to have them understand how your product can help them. And so we move also to diverse formats. Very significant that we understand that the problems we face yesterday cannot be solved by the same level of thinking that created them, especially today. And we want to have engaging headlines for our stories so that we know how to become that most followed brand. And we want to have our appreciation stories. And our appreciation stories must be from our clients and our customers, and also from us. We must appreciate our clients and give them reasons to appreciate us. And so how do we now use visual storytelling effectively? There are two companies that I admire very much that I think have used visual storytelling very effectively. There are other stories, there are other companies, but Oreo has a way to our stories, visual storytelling, when we are using visual images in our branding, through our stories, it must support and enhance our stories. So whatever we are saying and whatever we represent, it must showcase that. It must not, and so it must provide visual reinforcement. It must inform, it must persuade, it must provide clarity, and it must emphasize what we want our audience to understand or remember about our product. And Oreo has a way of doing that, especially on holidays and special events, by displaying the cookies and how we can always incorporate these into our events and holidays and make them very special, how we can create a bond and connect with families in these ways, and how we can establish meaningful relationships. They have a very good way of doing that. Now, we want to keep it simple and clear. So iPhone is said to be one of those things that give us privacy, and all of us desire privacy, and they have captured it well. It says privacy, that's iPhone. And so it is easy to comprehend. It avoids complex or cluttered design that will confuse us. And it also is very concise, but very relevant. There are clean layouts that they use for maximum effect. And there is no doubt in our understanding of what they are trying to tell us. And then we are looking at how we use sustainable content effectively. Now, sustainable content is really centered on two things. It must be environmentally friendly because of where we are going and how we are looking at how our resources are being depleted and how we are in the framework of securing it and making it very much better. So your products, when you're going out there, must choose user-generated content for it to be sustainable, that talks about how your brand or product contributes to the eco-friendly environment and gives them options. And for that reason, our digital formats that we are using even if it's our printed material, when possible, must be minimized to fit into the energy consumption, age, and buzz that is out there right now and the soft world. We must also, if we want our products to be sustainable and effective and memorable and remain in the minds of people, we present content and prioritize those contents that offer depth and insight, very useful to our audience. So our content must remain relevant and valuable, and can do that over time if we add the values by avoiding trends and fads, but look at how our brand and products through our storytelling can become timeless and provide enduring solutions to simple and common problems. And as we look at that, we also want to look at how we use content collaboration effectively. Content collaboration is partnering with those persons that, as I said before, complement our brand and can enlarge. So we merge with their audience and they merge with us. So they directly compete with us, they actually collaborate with us. So let's look, for example, Red Bull has collaborated content with many sports apparel brands and fitness persons and influencers. And they have come in a joint campaign where they promote also musicians or fitness gurus who want to are planning their programs or moving on. We can choose to have persons collaborate with us, and we can partner with complementary brands to enhance our brand and to make us more visible and to drive people towards what we offer. We must also be able to co-create content, work together to create content that combine the strengths of both collaborators. And this is important. For example, when Nike looked at the visible and popularity of Usain Bolt, who, by the way, is a Jamaican, and I am also a Jamaican, one of our top athletes, who is said to be the fastest man in the world to date. When they did this joint venture with him, he collaborated with them and he joined with them. He did promotions, he did webinars, he did podcasts, and all of those things, which brings the two expertise from the point of view of the receiver and the point of view of the giver. And so it expanded the reach and the engagement for both persons and also placed a lot of money in their pockets. And then we want to look at how we use diverse formats effectively. To do that, we have to adapt our content to specific platforms. Different platforms cater to specific formats. And also, what is more important than that is that we must be able to fit or identify the preferences and behaviors of our target audience and cater for those across the different formats. So some persons who are part of our clientele, very loyal and committed, do not like videos. They prefer written formats. We must know them enough. We must do our legwork. We must do our research. We must connect with them in such a way that we provide a variety of content on different platforms to cater to the different needs. We must also learn how to repurpose our content so that the message fits each channel, audience, and the different purpose. So our content strategy has to be so strategic and adaptable that we are able to fit into social media platforms. So, for example, your blog or your headliner can be repurposed or reformatted to create a podcast, a video, to be generated on an email list. You can expand it into a newsletter and all of those different platforms. And those are ways that we can use our story effectively to build our brand and our visibility, drive sales, and drive clients. How do we use engaging headlines effectively? Airbnb are one of the greatest custom brands that are out there using engaging headlines very effectively. KFC, Burger King, all of those persons, finger licking good, those types of phrases, Amazon with their A to Z, and Apple and so on. But Airbnb says one of the, for example, it can't get better than this. And they also ask you questions. Why would you choose comfort over adventure? And those are some of the things that are very important. But one of the things that is also important in this case is that as you use your engaging headlines, it must be very particular and purposeful and intentional to present what the problem is, to give the solution for the problems, and to showcase how this solution can be lasting. And then we want to look at the guidelines for using customer appreciation effectively. So you want to craft the headlines, as we said before, with the engaging headlines to evoke curiosity or pose a question. So when we are using engaging headlines, we want to be able to hint at a surprising fact or pose thought-provoking questions. For instance, the shocking truth is one of those phrases we can use. Uncover the secret too, or are you making these mistakes? We must also create clarity and value. So we must communicate in a way that benefits our target audience by incorporating impactful words or numbers that give a promise, a guarantee, or an ultimate solution, but it must add clarity or attention to what they're saying. And then for us to show appreciation, in showing appreciation, we want to be able to highlight customers' testimonials and success stories. And so we want to share these stories from satisfied customers who have benefited from our product or our service, and testimonials are a brainer. They do a great and marvelous work. When we allow them to highlight their experiences and the challenges they face and how the brand provided the solution, they are able to do it in ways that create, connect, and have psychological and emotional impact on others. And that will build your trust and credibility among your potential customers or customers who are lingering. And then you must also showcase employees' appreciation and company values. You must tell the stories of how you contribute to community initiatives, how you help to solve community problems, what you do with charities, and so on. And you must highlight your achievements to demonstrate your company's culture and values and how these cultures and values resonate with your clientele community. And then I must add that as we move right there, storytelling embodies emotion, engagement, communication, and your audience. And so I end by saying, within every story lies the power to ignite imagination, stir emotions, and forge connections. The art of storytelling isn't merely about words. It's about crafting moments that resonate, inspire, and transcend boundaries. Every narrative has the potential to spark hope and change, illuminate truths, and weave the fabric. Embrace the magic of storytelling. It holds the key to touching hearts, fostering understanding, and shaping the world with the power of a well-told tale. I want to thank you. We respect your valuable time that you spent with us. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. I can be contacted at drtpmotivate2@gmail.com or on my website, www.drtpmotivate2.com. I also have an handle because I use diverse formats on Instagram, drtpmotivate2, and I can also be reached on Facebook and LinkedIn. Thank you so much.
We love your delivery. That was really powerful. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The only difference, the only difficulty, I think there was a little bit of network problem. I don't know if it was only on my side or maybe some other person was also hearing that, but it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. We love you. We know you. We know you. So we know the quality of what you offer. So I really thank you so much for the time and for the sharing. Now, I'm imagining somebody who is going into 2024, and this person is thinking that he or she is going to use story in her business, but she doesn't yet know what are maybe the three best way to do this. I would like you to give an advice to this individual. What is your recommendation of the three best ways to use story in business? Please help us.
One of the most important ways to use storytelling in business is to know your target audience. Who are you serving? Who are the persons you want to benefit from your story? What do you want them to be able to do? And so you would use your story as an engagement tool, first of all. And for it to be engaging, it must be memorable. It must address the needs. It must show them what you can do for them and how you are going to do it. And so the first thing is that it must enhance them. So you use it as an enhancement, driving, introduction tool to introduce yourself and to pay attention and notice the keywords to how you can serve and solve the problems or create change in your target audience. The second thing that you can use it to do is to multiply your reach. How do you multiply your reach? Your content must be put in the face of everyone. You must be in every room with your content. You must be able to solve the problems that you really want to solve, what your intention is. You must serve those who you want to serve. And so your content must allow you to put your services in the face of everyone and to have those persons who really need your services being able to access your services at a comfortable pace, and also to understand with clarity and also with consideration what is it that you can do for them and commit to have you do it for them. Finally, your story must promote your authenticity and make you very memorable. And so you want to tell your authentic stories and you want to put the persons in your story and you want them to relate to what you're saying and put themselves in that place and identify with you as a human being, as a mentor, as a guy, as a hero, and with your brand as a hero and as their ideal solution. Those are really the three ways that you can really do that. Introduce your brand by promoting the solutions that you have for persons. Multiply your reach by making sure that you become very visible and always remain visible in the eyes of potential customers and those who you're really niching down after you have established that real. And you want to remain authentic and memorable by keeping your stories alive, by pivoting, as I think it was Raquel who says, is by changing your story, by adjusting them as you widen your reach, as your clientele expands, and as their needs change and develop.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And I believe that the listener, the audience who are listening now, of course, who might be on YouTube later, because we are recording this one for them, they can see the value in it. I really thank you so much for that, Dr. Marcia.
I want to add,
please.
Sorry, Obehi. I just want to add though, that when you're doing that, you must be very cognizant of your target audience and where they are present. So you must use the preferences of your target audience as you present your brand, as you keep it in front of them. You must understand where they can be reached and what their preferences are, their platforms are, their demographics are, and you must make sure that you cater to those.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is clear. And that is very important. You must know who you are serving. I think we can never say that enough. We can never overstate that. That is very important. I know who you are serving is something that is very important. It's fundamental for a lot of businesses, for a lot of content creators. Actually, let me just say, if you are doing something, you don't know who you are doing it for, the tendency that you will be effective in it is going to be really very, very slim. Whether you are going to know who are you doing this for. Take, for example, storytelling. You want to tell story, like we often say in our storytelling audio room, you can even have one story, but you could tell it in different ways. What is going to make the difference is who are you telling the story to? Because depending on who you are telling the story to and what is the circumstances, what is the context, how you tell that story is going to change. It's the same story, it's the same you, it's the same information, but the way you pass it is going to change because the audience you have in front of you has changed. We must learn how to be able to pivot like this. We must learn how to be able to adapt like this, be very malleable to respond to the person in front of us because they are the one who the story is directed to. Therefore, they are going to be very important in the story that we tell. Dr. Marcia, you have written a book, an interesting book that maybe people will also like to know how to buy. So what is your final thought here regarding what we have discussed today about storytelling strategy to engage? So what would you leave the people with? And remember to tell them where to get your book, please.
You are your greatest asset, and higher than the human thought can reach is God's ideal for you. And when you know that, you can confront, you can battle, you can tackle, and you can be very present in the market and remain relevant, resilient, and exemplary. My book is called The Leader Like You. It can be had on Amazon. It chronicles my experience as a Christian leader in the professional space. It talks about your assignment. It talks about understanding your purpose, being purpose-driven. It talks about the wilderness experiences of leaders, of business people, of career professionals, and high achievers in the industry, how you can act with dignity and lead with dignity after your wilderness experience, how understanding your leadership traits and your style can impact your leadership, the misunderstandings of leadership, motivation of delegation, and those types of things. And it also ends by giving a call of how to become a wise leader as a Christian career professional and how to keep your distinctive mark in your career space as a Christian leader or career professional. And most importantly, how to fuel your faith to remain resilient and exemplary. And that's where it can be had on Amazon. It is in hard copy, it is in paperback, it is also in an ebook. And that's really it. I can be contacted, as I said, and you can connect with me on my website, drtpmotivate2.com or at drtpmotivateme2@gmail.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, I'm also on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook as Marcia Thomas. On Instagram, it's Dr. TP Motivate 2. On LinkedIn, it's Dr. Marcia Thomas Powell.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Marcia. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing.